So, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name's Victoria. Welcome to our channel. We are currently doing the 12 days of Vlogmas, and I believe this is going to be vlog number 6 of our 12 days of Vlogmas. So we are halfway through already, which is crazy. Today, well, this week, so I'm starting to film this the Wednesday before it is going live. We're going to be filming a reading vlog slash cozy winter TBR list here. So currently I just finished lunch. I'm gonna make my second coffee and go back to work, but I wanted to get this started. So let's make our coffee, and then as we're making our coffee, I will tell you a little bit more about what we are anticipating on trying to read here, probably between December and January, since technically winter isn't here till the 22nd of December, I think. 22nd, 23rd, something like that. But you know, we're going with cozy winter vibes, winter adjacent vibes, kind of that mix. And it's a combination of a couple things that I picked up randomly and also a bunch of library books that we're gonna go through, and we'll go through a whole haul. But let's first make some coffee. I will talk to you just about the one book that I'm currently reading already, and then later on, either today or tomorrow, we'll probably talk through all the books that I have, and I'm going to try to read again between December and possibly January. So let's go ahead and make our coffee, and then I will check back in with you, okay? Just fits. The coffee is still very hot, so we're not going to drink that right this second, but I feel like I'm not. Can we focus? Hello, here I am. Okay, so our coffee is made. It's very warm, so we are going to give it a few minutes to cool down before we drink it, which gives us just enough time to talk about the book that I'm currently reading that I picked up from the library randomly. Apparently, I think this is on the Goodreads award list for this year. I don't really delve too much into that stuff on Goodreads, but they just had a little, oh, what is the word? Display. They had a display for the Goodreads awards, contestants, nominees, etc. And so this is Emily Wilde's Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Faeries by Heather Fawcett. And isn't this cover just really nice? I really like it. It's got like a kind of matte feel to it. I kind of wish it had the bumpy edges on it for the flowers and decorations and things like that, but I think it's really cute. And if you are not familiar with this book, I'll go ahead and read you the synopsis, the little background, little teaser on the back of the book. A curmudgeonly professor journeys to a small town in the far north to study fairy folklore and discovers dark magic, friendship, and love in this heartwarming and enchanting fantasy. I think, so that is like the little teaser bit like right at the top, and I think I'll leave it at that. But essentially I am a little under halfway through the book already. As you can see here, I've been reading it at night, and I like it so far. It was a little slow at first, so it is written in a journal style, of Emily's perspective. So Emily is a professor, as I mentioned, in fairy and in fairies, but they call them the folk in the book. And so she goes up to this remote island off of like off of the coast of Norway to study their folk specifically, because there's not a lot of documentation about them. And she's creating this encyclopedia, and she thinks that discovering the ones they call the hidden ones and discovering more about them is going to propel herself into the realm of prestige in her academic pursuits. And she goes there and is alone. And then they had mentioned this, but I guess there is the character Wendell Brambley, who comes in and is a colleague of hers. He's already a tenured professor where Emily is not, and they are very different. You know, it's definitely an opposites attract kind of vibe here. And she has an inkling about Brambley, which she says pretty early on in the book, that he is actually a folk person, a fairy, if you will, and has been trying to get it out of him for a while, but he's like her only friend. And then there's a slew of characters in this small town that she is living at for this academic pursuit to find more about these hidden folks. And so those are our side characters there thus far, and I like them. I like the small town vibes. I think that's very fun. It does give me, you know, a bit of a Jane Austen-esque Regency period, although I think it's like Victorian in nature, but like the style of it and things like that, even though hers aren't in the journal perspective, the first person perspective in that way, but I kind of get those vibes. It's definitely a little bit more of a slower pace. I'm about halfway in, as I mentioned now, and it's really starting to pick up. Like, I had trouble last night because I hit a part and I was like, oh, okay, interesting. I want to see where this goes. So I am excited about that. I'm enjoying it. I know there are footnotes in here. Just a note, if you don't like those, I'm not usually a huge fan of it. I get that it makes sense character-wise, I think, for our character, for there to be footnotes about what she's referencing. Like, it makes sense, because she's referencing a lot of academic papers in her journal that she's referring to, and so she adds like footnotes referencing a little bit more about those academic journals. And I don't think you necessarily have to read the footnotes to understand it. It adds more color and builds the world a little bit more, but I think because her character is academic, it makes sense. But I'm enjoying this. Apparently this is going to be a series, so I hope that I continue to enjoy it, because I would like to be excited for another series. I also see that she has some other books that are middle grade novels that I've not heard of before. Maybe I'll pick up a middle grade novel if I decide I like this, but it's a decent length book. It's only like 300, a little over 300 pages. So I anticipate I'll be done with this book before the week's end. And then, as I mentioned, we will get into the other books that I've picked up, that we will continue in this cozy winter vibe. Oh, and how this fits in our cozy winter vibe is, one, it is just on the precipice of winter in this book, and this is a very northern town, a northern island, so it gets very cold and snowy. Snow's already starting to fall. It's got that small town vibes. I feel like it's really taking the energy and putting that into the winter. And I think a slow-paced book in the winter is perfect. So I am happy I picked this one up. Again, I wasn't even planning. I was picking up some holds and I just saw it and I was like, I had heard a little bits and pieces about it, but I am having a good time and loving this cover, living for this cover. I love the colors. Again, if I might have to look to see if there is one where there is, you know, more of that texture on the cover, because I am really enjoying this. But it is time to get back to work. I'm looking forward to checking in with you. I'll probably check in tomorrow because tonight is Wednesday, it is Wednesday, and for those of you who know, Wednesdays are D&D nights, so I probably won't be able to check in before then, but if I do, it'll be an extra surprise. Okay, see you later. Hello, we're back. The day is over. As you can tell, it's a little dark. We're in the kitchen dining area at the moment. I am trying another Christmas mirror that I grabbed yesterday. Look how cute. It's got like a little like to and from situation here, and the gingerbread guy, and then it says like Christmas cookie ale. So cute. I'm thinking, so as I'm preparing for the next Vlogmas video, which will probably be like a random amalgamation of different Christmas pop-ups and holiday pop-ups that we've gone to thus far here. This one, really you get the Christmas cookie. It's pretty good. So what we're doing right now is I really wanted to read. I really did want to read. However, as I mentioned, I have D&D tonight, and we didn't end up playing last week. So I wanted to review what I had prepared for last week to refresh my memory, even though I had already prepared it, and kind of look a little further as well, to make sure that if things move faster than I think they are, I'm prepared for what's next. And then just grabbing a couple pictures and everything and throw it in Roll20. What I think is great about this part of our dungeon crawl and this part of this act in the campaign is that, well, chapter in the campaign is that it's a lot more theater of the mind than it is battle maps and things like that. So that means less of what I need to prepare physically. I just more need to prepare mentally. So that is what we're gonna do. So I thought I would check in while I had a Christmas cookie beer. I hope there's not too many sounds going on. So I still have the air purifier on, and then Pumpkin is eating dinner. And on top of that, I have some sweet potatoes in the oven. So we've got a couple different moving pieces going on here. But just to, I don't know, maybe I'll give you a little sneak peeks as to what we're looking at right now. So I don't think I've mentioned this before, but the campaign that we're doing for our D&D group that I am leading is a pre-made campaign from Critical Role. Well, it is a D&D Critical Role Call of the Netherdeep campaign. So it's a D&D product created in partnership with Critical Role, according to this. I think I may have mentioned this in like one of my very first videos, but where we are right now is they are in a labyrinth in this, in Betrayer's Rise. And I won't get into it too much as I don't want to ruin the story for anybody who's looking to or is currently playing the campaign. But this image I need to grab and put it in Roll20 because I like to at least add a couple images when we're playing virtually. And then I have these from my time GMing a game in person, and since there's some theater of the mind stuff, sometimes it's easier to have the physical copy on here. So I think I'm going to grab the physical copy for some of the big bads here, just so I have them and I'm not trying to find that later. So that's what we're doing. Why do I start every video like this? My teeth look white though. Okay. Focus, 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 Victoria. Hello, welcome back. Welcome, welcome. Hello, hello, hello. It is Thursday. We just wrapped up work. There is a lawnmower going on, but I think it'll be okay. So, yesterday we started, I feel like I'm really, here we go. Yesterday we started chatting about our winter reads, our winter TBR, our cozy, wintry list, TBR list. And I mentioned that I had a bit of a haul from the library and also 2 books that I picked up when I randomly went to a Barnes & Noble. I try to buy from independent bookstores or used books, but I was there because I was waiting on my partner for lunch and was just trying to kill some time, and they always have really good sales, and I just was kind of browsing books and found a couple to pick up. So I did pick up 2 books that I actually purchased, but we're gonna do a little haul slash TBR for the winter. As I mentioned yesterday, this may not just be a TBR for December. This might be going into January depending on where we're at. As I mentioned, we did a little bit of chatting yesterday about our first pick, the book that I'm currently reading, Emily Wilde's The Encyclopedia of Faeries, which apparently the second book is going to be coming out soon. I saw that there were some pre-orders on it. I also saw there was another cover. I know I did a lot of chatting about this cover. I think this is the better one. I'm just gonna say it. With that being said, I did still keep The Bone Witch from the library. So this was in my Blooming Readathon TBR. So I do still have this. I may still read it. I feel it's still giving wintry vibes, like even the color palette. We really got a nice purple, dark kind of color palette going on. So I feel like it still goes with the colors. Let us continue on. So when I went to Barnes & Noble, I had my library book app open, which is so cool now. So I had my app open and was just scanning to see if my library had some of the books that I was interested in for new releases. I'm taking my little hold slips off of here. So I did pick up a couple of the ones that I saw at Barnes & Noble and rented them. And I have another 2 I put on hold, but they're newer books, so they've got some more holds on them. But before we get into those 2, I'm really excited about 2 that I picked up for different reasons. But I picked up 2 children's books that are based off of Korean folk stories. And I am so excited to read these. I thought these were so cute. I was looking for information about Korean folk stories, and these 2 like children's books came up. And I just thought that sounded like so much fun. So I'm going to read this. This is Korean's children's favorite stories, fables, myths, and fairy tales, written by Kim Sung and illustrations by Jung Kyung-sim. So just to read the inside cover, it says Korean's children's favorite stories is a captivating collection of Korean folk tales which are still being told just as they've been told for generations. Some are peculiar to Korea, while others echo those told in other countries. Written with wit and pathos, they unveil the inevitable foibles of people everywhere and expose the human-like qualities of animals and the animal-like qualities of humans. Pulsating with the rhythm of life and seasons, the stories transport the reader to a wonderland where ants talk, a baby rabbit outwits a tiger, a tree fathers a child, and a toad saves a whole village. This collection of traditional tales is sure to delight the hearts of all children from 8 to 80. So there's that one. And then we picked up another one. This one is by Julie Kim, and it's Where's Harmony? So, children's story. Let's see. I don't know if it actually has a... It does not have any description of what it is on the book, but just so you can get an idea. Look how cute. Look at it. Is that not cute? I'm excited. I think this looks super cute. Just a little children's book. Who knows? Maybe I'll go ahead and read it on shorts or something for the kids. I don't know. But I was excited to grab this one too. It just looks so cute and wholesome. So I don't know. Maybe I will do a little reading of a story video that can be shared with the kiddos. Who knows? Next, I picked up a nonfiction book. So not exactly winter vibes, unless you want to consider that winter vibes. But this, I just thought it looked really interesting. It's Fancy Bear Goes Fishing. The dark history of... they put the sticker right on here. What is it? Hold on. So it's Fancy Bear Goes Fishing. The dark history of the information age in 5 extraordinary hacks. Reading the inside cover here. It's a signal paradox of our time that we live in an information society but do not understand how it works. What if we knew better? In Fancy Bear Goes Fishing, Scott J. Shapiro draws on his popular Yale University class about hacking to show that cybercrime has less to do with defective programming than with the faulting wiring of our psyches and culture. He tells the tale of notable perpetrators including Robert Morris Jr., the graduate student who accidentally crashed the internet in the 1980s, and the Bulgarian Dark Avenger, who invented the first mutating computer virus engine. We also meet the 16-year-old from South Boston who took control of Paris Hilton's cell phone, the Russian intelligence officers who sought to influence a U.S. election, and others. In relating their stories, Shapiro exposes the hackers' toolkits and reveals the cyber criminals do not just abuse computer code, they also exploit the philosophical principles of computation. The very features that make computers possible also makes hacking possible. He explains how our information society actually works, the ways in which our data is stored and manipulated, and why it is so vulnerable to exploitation. Both intellectual romp and dramatic true crime narrative, Fancy Bear Goes Fishing exposes the secrets of the digital age. Here are hacking, espionage, war, and cybercrime as you've never read them before. So yeah, I thought that sounded really intriguing. Again, I'm not like 1000% sure that this will be what I read for a cute winter vibe before the holidays. I'd also like to note that this nonfiction, notes. This is all notes on the book. You know a Yale professor wrote this. So it's only 328 pages, but yeah, that whole 329 pages. But this whole beefy section right here is notes. But we'll see. I'm very curious. I saw it and was instantly like, yes. Yes, I will be reading that. Next step in our winter reads, kind of going with a fairy vibe, but I feel like fairies can be very summer or winter, but they're cozy, right? We're going for cozy winter vibes. So I saw this. This is... So this book this is Ever After. It says Eric hadn't thought much about what would happen after he completed the prophecy that said he was destined to save the kingdom of Ire from its evil ruler. So now that he's finally managed to somewhat clumsily behead the evil king, turns out magical swords yanked from bogs don't come pre-sharpened. He and his ragtag group of quest companions are a bit of a loss for what to do next. As a temporary safeguard, Eric's best friend and mage, Matt, convinces him to assume the throne until the true heir can be rescued from her tower. Except she's dead. Now Eric is stuck as king, a role that comes with a magical catch Choose a soulmate by your 18th birthday or wither away into nothing. With his 18th birthday only 3 months away and only Matt in on the secret, Eric embarks on a desperate bid to find a spouse to save his life, starting with his quest companions. But his attempts at wooing his friends go painfully and hilariously wrong, until he discovers that love might have been in front of him all along. So it seems cute. It's kind of got a little bit of, I said fairy vibes, but it's got a bit of like Dungeons and Dragons vibes. I feel like that. I like the idea of this kind of being similar to Legends and Lattes in that it's after the battles, after the villain's been vanquished, and so the story is, you know, what happens ever after. So I thought that was fun. I'm excited to read this. Obviously it's YA because he's turning 18, so we'll see how I vibe with that, but I think it's gonna be a cute, fast read, so I definitely feel like I could probably get this read here before the end of the month or like in January. I mean, God, like those are some big texts, my friends. But I think this is gonna be cute. If you read this in the comments, let me know. I would love to know. I was very intrigued. So those are our library books that we hauled. I think a great group of books, honestly. We'll definitely get through those, you know, the children's ones, kind of like a graphic novel. I'm excited. I haven't read a children's book in a while. So those are our library books. Now to the books that I picked up when I was at Barnes & Noble. So the first one, which I didn't even realize before I decided to make this video, is The Winter's Promise by Christelle Dabos. And I do realize that this book seems to have originally been published in 2013, so I may be like way behind the curve here. But she's also very thick. But I kept seeing this book, and this cover is beautiful. Beautiful. It also is a winter's promise. So how could I not include this in a winter TBR? So this is from The Mirror Visitor. This is the book 1 in the series. If you are like me and have never really heard of these books, I'll go ahead and read the back for you. Ophelia possesses 2 special gifts, a talent for seeing into an object's past and the ability to travel through mirrors. Her peaceful existence on Anima is interrupted when she is promised in marriage to the taciturn Thorn, a member of a powerful clan from a cold and distant ark. A pawn in a dangerous game that will have far-reaching consequences for her entire world, Ophelia must navigate the lies and machinations of her fiancé's clan in order to survive in this first installment of the internationally best-selling Mirror Visitor series. It sounds like fun. She's thick. Homegirl weighs a lot. Let me just say it. She's almost 500 pages. But I haven't looked anything up on this. I kept seeing it. I just love this cover. It sounded like an interesting idea, so I'm excited to read it. I hope it doesn't disappoint. Sometimes, you know, I try not to buy books based on covers, but just something about this was drawing it to me, and the premise sounded very interesting. And then, of course, it being called A Winter's Promise just fits it really nicely into our cozy winter TBR. Last book. This was on the recommendations alcove end cap at Barnes & Noble, and it was described as like a book, like if Studio Ghibli were a book. So this is The Beast Player by Nahako Uhashi, translated by Kathy Hirano. And it, again, is described as like a Miyazaki film in a book, which already I was here for it. I think this cover is beautiful. Look at it, so pretty. I like how even on the spine, they're there. Like, that's such nice detail. Look at that. But I will read this back for you. Elan's family has an important responsibility, caring for the fearsome water serpents that form the core of their kingdom's army. So when some of the creatures mysteriously die, Elan's mother is sentenced to death as punishment. With her last breath, she manages to send her daughter to safety. Alone and far from home, Elan soon discovers that she can communicate with both the terrifying water serpents and the majestic flying beasts that guard her queen. This skill gives her great power, but it also involves her in deadly plots that could cost her her life. Can she save herself and prevent her beloved beasts from being used as tools of war? Or is there no escaping the terrible battles to come? The Beast Player. I'm excited. This one just was all vibes. All vibes for me. I'm very excited to read it. I love that it's a translation, so very interested to see this world built. It also does not have page numbers. Yes, it does. Then what was that at the end? The hell? Oh, that was like a little sneak preview? That was a sneak preview. So 344 pages, very small font, but I am excited for this one. I don't know which one of these. I think I'm in the mood for Winter's Promise after I finish Encyclopedia of Faeries, but I'm not sure. I haven't decided which order, so I will let you know as we figure that out. But as of right now, this one I should be done, I think, before the end of this week. But that is our check-in, that is our TBR. Like I mentioned, I think this will be like a reading vlog, winter TBR video week. So I will be checking in with you. I do confidently think we will be done with this soon. And I don't know, what's crazy is at this point in the story, I am feeling like this book might be my favorite book that I've read this year, which is interesting because I just picked it up on a whim. Anyway, I'm rambling now. We'll check in later. I think I've got to do some editing for our 4th day of Vlogmas because that's going to go up tomorrow. It's going to be a short video, so I think it should be fine. It shouldn't be too difficult. It's pretty straightforward for that one. And then I have a fun idea. I think I talked about it yesterday. I have a flight set that we got from Hollywood Studios when we went there a little over a year ago. It was like the 1st or 2nd week in December of last year. We went to Galaxy's Edge, and we actually got into Olga's Cantina, which was amazing. Had so much fun. And we got the Rancor flight. And when you get the Rancor flight, I will explain this in the video as well, but when you get a Rancor flight, you actually get a set too. And I haven't used it yet. It's just been kind of sitting up there as like a nice little mantelpiece. But I was thinking, since I have, it's gonna cut off. I was thinking because I have 4 beers to try, we could try them all in there and it'd be cute and fun. But I gotta turn this off because the camera's about to die. Ah! Hello, happy Tuesday. So it's been 2 days since I last checked in with you all, and I'm sorry if the lighting's bad. It's already past work time here, and I thought I'd give you a little reading update since we were at the convention that you would have seen on Saturday, and then on Sunday I ended up doing some fun stuff with my partner earlier in the day. We went to brunch and everything like that, and then I had dance rehearsal and then went out with some of the people from dance rehearsal and had a really good time there. So that was a lot of fun. And then, you know, Monday was just getting back into the swing of things for the week, but we did finish Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Faeries, and overall I really enjoyed this book. I had a really great time. I did feel like the ending, it like kind of quickly ended, and I don't know if that was because I just like got a little, I don't know, the ending was a little weird. Not the ending of necessarily like the plots, but like just the ending of the book in general. They had like just a little additional ending. It wasn't an epilogue, but it kind of felt like an epilogue. And that was a little weird. So I gave it 4.5 outside of 5, just because it did feel like kind of strange. But I'm really looking forward to when the second book comes out. And then last night I picked up A Winter's Promise by Christelle Dabos. Also did not realize that this was a translation. So this book is a French book and translated. She is so thick. I've only read, I'm currently on page 57, and they don't have chapter numbers, but I am on the chapter called The Bear. And so far in this book, I did have, I think maybe because it's also translated, I had a little bit of trouble first kind of getting into the rhythm of reading through this, but our main character, Ophelia, lives on this ark called Anima, and from what we're supposed to understand at the beginning of this book is that our world, oh, by the way, before we get into this, I have been doing this for so long now. I bought this, I got half of it untangled and kind of put on this spool, so I hopefully wouldn't have to do this again. But I've been working on this for so long. I was making calls on my phone. I was like making calls for work and just idly trying to untangle this while I made calls, because it has been a time. Really stressful. I am very stressed, and I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere with it. So if you hear that in the background, that's what I'm doing currently. I thought it would be good to give you an update and kind of wrap up this reading vlog while I worked on trying my damnedest to finish untangling this. So, where was it? Oh, yes. So in this world, our world, what seems to be our world, at least what they're hinting at, like with some of the wording, makes me think that it was our world first. So there's like an excerpt in the very beginning about, it's like the prologue, and about God. It's called The Fragment. And basically, it seems like there's a book, and it like divided up the world and kind of shattered things, and there's all these arcs. And so our main character, Ophelia, lives on the Anima arc, and we start off, we enter her story where she has just been betrothed to a secret person who she doesn't know at first. But if you read the back of the book, the person's name is Thorn. And Thorn is from another arc called the Pole, which is known for being, at least rumors have it, that they are a bit more aggressive and primal, you know, like the typical kind of, like, these people are a little sus kind of situation. It seems like what they're describing them to be, but there's not much they know about them, so people don't travel, it seems like, all that much. So she has been betrothed to this person. She's not really sure why. She's kind of, she runs a museum, and it seems that these people have some powers, so these books are part of the Mirror Visitor series, and so she can actually travel through mirrors. And then there's something called reading, where essentially you get vibes from items, and the more powerful of a reader you are, the more you can glean off of touching an item with bare touch. And so she is an especially good reader, and so she works in the museum there and has been, you know, cataloging things about the items in there. And for some reason they requested her to marry this man. Outside of that, we don't know much. So at this point, this person, Thorn, is coming to Anima to basically meet everybody, meet her family, and then take Ophelia with her. It's unclear to me how old Ophelia is supposed to be. I'm hoping she's at least 18. I mean, this is said to be young adult, and in the story, her sister Agatha mentions that she was betrothed at 17, and then her mom was betrothed at 15, but it is unclear how old Ophelia is. I would assume she's a little bit older than that, because they kind of made it seem like a big deal that she hadn't gotten married yet. It also does seem like women in this situation, in this world, have less agency from what we're gleaning. Even though Ophelia seems to have a good amount of it, but it seems like once you are married, I don't know if she'd still work in the museum. It seems like possibly she could. It's interesting. So there's a lot going on. It's definitely a complex world. I'm excited to learn a little bit more about it. I'm a little sad to see that we're leaving Anima so soon, which I don't know if that's necessarily true, because supposedly he's supposed to stay there 2 weeks, but we've already done like a couple month time jump in the story within the first couple of chapters. So I'm really unsure. It's unclear like how long we'll be here in this arc. So I'm interested. I did check some content warnings, a little concerned about some of them. We will see how those go. But thus far, I would say it's definitely giving a vibe of, you know, obviously post-apocalyptic. It's a little bit fantasy, you know, a little dystopian. There's some aspects that also feel a little sci-fi. So it's a good mix. I know the first book came out in 2013. And again, this is translated from French. So curious just to see how this is going to go. I'm excited to continue embarking on it. So I will definitely let you know in our next, you know, kind of reading vlog, what I think of it. But as I mentioned, you know, I had planned on posting this here on Wednesday, so tomorrow, which means I've got to get editing. But because of that, I probably am going to end the vlog here. And we'll check back in with more reading updates maybe closer to the end of the year to see where we're at. Because we did have that vlog where I kind of went through my winter TBR. And as I mentioned in that, the goal is not to... I'm sorry, I'm really focused on this chain. The goal is not necessarily to try to read all of those books in December, but just winter in general. We're trying to keep it realistic here because honestly, I really, between YouTube, work, dance, Junior League, and all the crafts that I've been doing, and all the things that I do for YouTube and the crafts that I do, I usually read at night before bed. And it's already been keeping me up a little late because I've been trying to read. I try to read like an hour. Sometimes it ends up being 2 if I'm really into it. So, you know, trying to make sure I still go to bed at a decent hour. But I am so distracted by this. I mean, this is incredibly, it's so thin that it just gets very tangled, you know? But I'm going to focus on that. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested, you can check out the rest of the Vlogmas videos somewhere up here in the corner. And I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!